Alrighty, it is 5 after the hour. Why don't we get started? I realize that whenever I do this, I start to sound like a radio announcer. That just gets too far into it. I need to set the timer on my watch. That way, actually, no, I don't. I had to do that yesterday because I had such a time crunch. But we can start now. So, whoo, sheesh. Why don't we get into this? Hello, everybody. I am rubbing my eye, and oh boy, howdy. Today is a fun day. We got some stuff to talk about. We're going to talk about yesterday's stream. We're going to talk about tomorrow's stream. We're going to talk about today's stream. We're going to be talking about some upcoming projects and things I'm going to be posting soon. Oh my gosh. Hi, rubbing my eye. I'm Dad. Father! I missed you, Daddy. Here is the one and only thing. Oh my gosh. Why? I'm a patient man. I can wait. I can't hear anything. Are you guys done yet? Did we get that out of our system? Fair enough. I like that, Rinthio.
Here's the one and only It's Valentine here on the radio sitting at KS 95, singing your day away with the classics. We're spinning your way. To start off, let's hit you with some Love Radar. Radar Love.
I was thinking of a different band for some reason, like Air Supply. I don't know why I was thinking about that. Anywho, let's get into it. I am wearing I think it's either a triple XL or a 4XL hoodie right now, and so I am being swallowed up in this giant hoodie, and I feel really comfortable because I have my window open, and I want to see the temperature. It's 30 degrees currently. Woo! So yeah, it is 30 degrees and I am in a nice warm hoodie. So yeah, let's talk about yesterday's stream. Oh boy, howdy. That was a lot of fun. Talking with Vam was so much fun. You know, she has a lot of personality and she had a lot of great insight to share about her perspectives on VTubing. And something that I feel like we don't talk about enough on this show is how much the business aspect of VTubing is important for people to talk about and consider when they want to get into this hobby. So I am really grateful we were able to talk about so much cool stuff there. Not only that, but just like the amount of support and the amount of people coming out to see the show yesterday was just, it was a lot of fun. And it's very humbling when you get to see so many people show up for something you're working hard to organize and to grow. So, you know, all I can say is how truly grateful I am to have such wonderful people that just use all of their channel point redeems to throw Dr. Pepper at me, which, guess what? I don't have Diet Pepsi today. I do have a bottle of Dr. Pepper. So we are good in that department. But with that said, I think on Tuesday, talking about our next stream, I said that kind of funny. I said it Tuesday. Huh. That's my standard American pronunciation coming out, is saying Tuesday. Because, fun fact, if you ever want to learn, like, this sounds weird, if you want to learn how to type a fun little kind of sub-language, learn the International Phonetic Alphabet, or IPA. It's so much fun, because not only does it change what you know about phonetics and speaking, it also is just really fun to learn the you would know the sub language. Yes. Why is it that my mods always bully me? Why is it that I sit there and take it? Oh, I know why, but I'm not gonna answer that. I know what you guys are after. But yeah, it's super cool. Like, it's a super cool thing. And especially, like, if you've ever wondered what the standard American pronunciation is or the transatlantic dialect is, it stems from like 30s, 40s, and 50s speaking in, you know, like those older movies, like Jimmy Stewart. like those old Jimmy Stewart movies, that would be a perfect representation of what the transatlantic accent is, where it's very prim and proper. So, saying the Tuesday, it's a very, very interesting accent to talk and use, because it sounds very prim and very proper. So if I was to say Rinthio's comment in that, it would... What do you mean it sounds sus? It doesn't sound sus. If I were to take Rinthio's comment and say in the standard American pronunciation, Thank you. Thank you for that. That's exactly what I needed. If I was to say Rinthio's comment in that, it would be, here's the one and only, it's Valentine. Here on your radio, sitting at KS95, singing your day away with the classics. We're spinning your way. To start off, let's hit you with some radar love. So it is a very interesting way of speaking, because nobody speaks like that. Because it's not a British accent, that's not an English accent. You know, we're not talking in a very reformed or retrieved English accent, because fun fact, there's a difference. There's a normal English, like British accent, and there's the retrieved British accent, but that's a discussion for a different time. So if you ever want to have fun learning how to speak, speak a different dialect, learn the transatlantic dialect. And before we say, well, that's an accent, no, there's a difference between an accent and a dialect. An accent is one language adopting the mannerisms of a different language, where a dialect is a different way of speaking within a singular language. So for instance, because I speak French, in my experience, I speak very typical French French accent. So if I were to say, my name is Sebastian Valentine, I would be like, je m'appelle Sebastian Valentine. And I would speak in a very stereotypical French accent. But this is how the French speak. That's how the accent is derived. And so, I'm getting way off topic. I will finish this thought and then we'll get into the show. But this is just for anybody who's curious. The accent would be a French speaker speaking a different language and having that original language influence what they're speaking. So for instance, if the Frenchman, which again, this is how I speak French, it's a very guttural and very back of the throat sound. And in my experience of speaking French, this is what it sounds like. So how I'm speaking, my French pronunciation of how I speak French influences how I can speak English. So that would be an accent. Or if somebody from, say, India or Japan, where Hindi or Japanese, tu parles français un petit peu. The thing is, I haven't had to speak it in like 3 years, and so a lot of it was getting lost on me in the speaking part of it, but the understanding part I can do. So je parle français un petit peu. So yeah, it's once again, phonetics haunts me everywhere I go. Good. So yeah, but a dialect is a variation in speaking in a singular language. So for instance, there's no such thing as an Irish accent. There's no such thing as a British accent. Technically, these are all dialects of the English language. But nobody wants to be corrected on that. So yeah, there's your fun fact for the day. An accent is a language influencing another language's pronunciation. A dialect is a different pronunciation within the same language. Thank you for the 1-bit, Phantom. You're the best. I appreciate it. So yeah. Anyway, moving forward to I ran out of cans. Here. This one's on me. There you go. That one's on me. Of course. So, today I'm going to talk, or right now I'm going to talk about our current show. So I've had we got to say what points for the Akuma one. Oh, 2 to come out. Oh boy. That'll be fun. That'll be a lot of fun. So yeah, today's going to be a lot of fun. I've spoken to a lot of really cool people. A lot of really cool people with this show. But something I haven't really had the opportunity to talk with is somebody who specializes in computer science and programming. Now, I've talked about it a little bit before in the past, but before I became a communications major, I was a computer science major. And I did a lot of, I did Python work and I did C++ work, but I oddly enjoyed more of the web development aspect of programming. So it is something I really do enjoy, if it's not during a crunch. But talking with our current guest today, you know, I'm super excited for what we're going to be talking about, and especially the plans that our guest has today. So I think for fun, I'm just going to read the intro I have for him in my standard American pronunciation, because I think it'd be funny. The man, the myth, the legend. So today we will welcome Vega. I almost said it again. Like, I've talked with him about this. We'll be welcoming Vega Lyrea, the Bardic Prince Vtuber. He is a poet, musician, aspiring VA, and programmer. Vega is a variety gamer, streamer, but frequents I can't read my own script, but frequents Valorant, Minecraft, and Star Rail on stream. He is also the creator of a new project called Aurora-chan AI, a fully AI dragon girl VTuber that is set to debut soon with her own streams. I'm gonna read that normally. Today we'll be welcoming Vega Lyrea, the Bardic Prince VTuber. He is a poet, a musician, an aspiring VA, and a programmer. Now, Vega is a variety game streamer, but frequents Valorant, Minecraft, and Honkai Star Rail on stream. He is also a creator of a new project called Aurora-chan AI. Don't you point out my inability to speak. He's also the creator of a... Thank you, Fumi. He's also the creator of a new project called Aurora-chan AI, a fully AI dragon girl VTuber that is set to debut soon with her own stream. So without further ado, I got a hiccup. I've talked enough. So why don't we get into it? Ladies and gentlemen, our wonderful guest Vega. Where's there he is. So
yeah,
please,
man, he just talks for. Oh, sorry.
Oh, I am mute now. Yes.
yes. Please,
Okay.
please welcome my wonderful guest Vega and my wonderful co-host, the Phantom Fame, who is possessing the body of our wonderful little Gojo figure here.
Very nice.
So, Vega, how are you doing today?
I'm doing great. The intro was awesome. I was laughing the whole time. It's great I was muted.
Well, so anytime oh, I see. Anytime I end up doing that voice and I end up speaking the standard American pronunciation, it feels like I'm trying to do like a bastardization of like an impression of like Merryweather.
That's fair. He has a distinct accent. You can't really nail down where it comes from, but it comes from somewhere.
It's a mix of English and Danish.
Yeah.
Because
that's fair.
he is from Denmark, I believe. So
Okay, cool.
But when he speaks, in order to imitate that voice, you have to sort of push your voice a little bit up like this, and then add a little bit more of a more retrieved inflection. And so
Yeah, you've got to pull it up here.
but the way he does it up here. And it's just,
Yeah.
it's one of my favorite, it's like one of my favorite little impressions to do. It's not the best, but I just love doing, we just like, bark for me. Woof. It's just that little
We
thing.
just started and we're already so off track.
Yeah, he's just
That is how this goes.
It is how it goes. And like, I'm not gonna talk about Merryweather. I hope to one day have I hope to have Merryweather on this show one day because he is one of my VTuber idols.
Oh god, I'll be fangirling in the chat so hard.
So yeah. Anywho, Vega, how are you doing today?
I'm doing great. How are you doing? How you doing?
As you can see, having a mental breakdown.
So it's all good.
So just Sunday as
typical.
usual.
Yeah, it's entertainment value.
Same brain.
Yeah, it do be like that sometimes. So, but yeah, I'm going to make sure I ask this question first before we get off topic any further because I have a habit of
Okay.
rambling. You know what this question is. I know what this question is. Everyone knows what this question is. And it's the most important question I was asked at the beginning of every show is, who are you and what is your story?
All right. Also, though, thank you, Nina. But okay. I'm Vega. I'm constantly bullied into being a bard by all of my friends when I play D&D because they tell me I am a bard. So I've just decided to own it at this point and become one. I'm a programmer, but only on the things that interest me. I'm pretty useless if it's not an interesting project. And I write stuff a lot. Play games. Pew pew.
You write stuff like games. Can you explain that a little bit?
Oh no, I said I write stuff and play games.
Oh,
I've not wrote a game before. That would be very cool. I have some in mind, but they're very, very, very early days. I want to make like some found footage style horror games, like indie ones.
Ooh.
Oh, jeez.
Oh.
I scream like a child when I play those games. So,
Do you have any inspirations for those kind of found footage horror games, like Blair Witch?
I love SCPs.
SCPs. I know nothing about SCPs. Can we talk about that for a little bit?
Okay. SCPs very cool.
Can we talk about that for a bit?
Can we talk about whatever you want?
Who would oppose you?
I'm gonna say a copyrighted thing. Let's talk about that.
Yeah. Okay. SCPs, they're like, it's basically someone created a wiki for horror, and people vote on the best one, and they become canon, and anyone can write to it, and it's open license, so anyone can do anything they want with license, and you can't stop them.
So what you're saying?
So it's like free for everyone.
So what you're saying is, if we get the community together here, and I write that my little mug there with the face is an SCP, like the reason why his face is like that is he's in perpetual ecstasy. And if somebody picks it up, that ecstasy or pain or whatever have you is put onto somebody, then that could
100%.
That really, so we could just vote that will suddenly be an SCP.
Yes, and if it gets enough popularity and becomes like full canon, then it can start affecting the other ones people write.
You're kidding? How so?
Yeah. So it's such a mixed bag. Like, for example, like one will be like this unkillable reptile that everybody loves because it's like the peak of evolution and you can't kill it because it evolves to any threat. But then someone else will write this ridiculous thing that's just like a tickle monster that can't be killed and it's basically just a slime. And it's totally absurd and it doesn't fit the narrative at all, but everybody votes for it. And now you've got to reconcile how these two things work together, and it's like they can't kill each other, and someone will write fan fiction about how they have to fight. It's ridiculous in the best way possible.
What? Because like I think the only one I know is like what is it, SCP-069 or 067?
Godzilla and King Kong.
Really?
Yeah, they're so funny.
Well, so then which is the one that like is the most famous one that everybody knows, where if you look at it you're dead?
Oh, there's two. So there's the crying man. If you look at him, he hunts you down and kills you. And then there's the peanut. It's if you're not looking at it, it snaps your neck. Those are the two popular ones there.
So if I recall the lore, because that's one I do know. Doesn't the SCP Foundation have that? Have the peanut in like a containment area that there are people constantly watching, like, and they take shifts.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. Oh my god!
SCP. Here they come.
Yay! The redeem is, or the follow thing is working. I was afraid it wasn't.
Go one more for good measure. Anyway, that's all my points. But what were we saying before I saw Dr. Pepper and my brain went blank?
The SCP Peanut Boy.
Oh yeah.
And that they keep him in, because I think that wasn't that the premise of hello Greece.
Hey Grace.
Hello.
Isn't
that the premise of SCP Containment Breach?
Yes. SCP Containment Breach is hilarious because it's like it would be horrifying if the monsters didn't glitch out and fall through the floor every 10 seconds.
I am hydrating. What more do you want from me? I love you all. It's because I remember back in the day, I'd watch Markiplier play that game, and because I always thought it was an interesting thing. And then as time has went on, I will drink more after I finish my thought here.
Chug the Dr. Pepper.
No, I don't want to chug the Dr. Pepper. I will be burping incessantly throughout the stream. Oh, there it goes. You did this, chat. But yeah, it's just like, I think something that stuck out to me most was that there was like a meme that got spread around where there was a photo, like apparently even if it's just a pixel of the creature, it can find you and kill you.
Yeah.
So then
One of my favorite goofy ones is someone combined the two, the Peanut Man and the Shy Guy, and they put a picture of the Shy Guy on the Peanut's face, and then it like took out the entire universe.
how does that even work?
You can't look at it and you can't not look at it.
So it's Schrodinger's peanut.
Yeah. It's very silly. It's like you get like really good scientific based horror mixed with absolute absurdity depending on which one you click on, and it's just fun.
So what you're saying is that the SCP community is if NASA partnered with 4chan.
Yes, exactly. It's beautiful.
That sounds incredible. The idea NASA partnering with 4chan sounds like one of the worst things I could ever imagine.
Val, you might get locked away for that one.
What do you
can I do
mean?
to it?
Like, they can't hate me because I'm right. Wait, what if someone who's blind is? That's a good question. What if they're blind and they look at Peanut Man, or are they a Shy Guy? That one.
I don't know that. See, that's the fun thing about SCPs. If you wonder that, you can go write a story about how you think it works, and then if people like it, it's part of the canon now.
Cause like, oh yeah,
That's cool.
cause like that was something I remember seeing like a comic that somebody made where it was like it wasn't necessary, it wasn't like Medusa, but it was like I think based on the the Japanese urban legend of the slit-mouthed woman.
Yeah.
So for those that don't know, there's a Japanese urban legend called the Slit-Mouth Woman, and what she does is she walks around the streets of Japan at night carrying a giant pair of scissors or a knife or whatever have you. It depends on the region. And she typically wears a mask. And the thing is that she'll walk up to you and she'll ask you, "Am I pretty?" And then when she takes the mask off, there are giant gashes like in the corners of her mouth. And so if you say so basically Gwen from League of Legends,
Mask?
yes, with the scissors. Mask. Oh, that's right.
Mask.
Mask.
I heard mask. Continue.
But with that, if you say yes, you are pretty, she'll be like, okay, cool. Then she'll make you exactly like her, where she will cut your mouth. But if you say no,
I know I got these scars.
if you say no, you can just you will get killed because she thinks you're mean. The only way to really get away, according to the original lore, is that you just say like maybe, or kind of like you're like in the middle, or like so, and she gets confused, you just run away. So
like 6.5 girl, and she just doesn't know how to handle that.
am I pretty? Like on a scale of 1 to 10, or like yes or no, or what? Like community poll? So the reason why I bring that up is because I saw a comic where she found a guy and she asked the question, and the guy turned around and is like, I don't know. And she was super confused, but when she turned around, she saw that the guy was blind, so he legitimately couldn't see. But he's like, but judging from your voice, I imagine you're a very beautiful individual. And she was so caught off guard by it. And she's like,
they got married.
And she was like, thank you. And he's like, yeah, where are you going? I'm going this way. You mind if I walk with you? I can't really see. And she's like, okay. And they just walk. Like, it's an incredibly wholesome little comic. And that made me wonder, are blind people just immune to those kind of like curses that you have to see?
Kind of like a superpower then, it's like the Daredevil thing,
Because like,
but in like a supernatural sense.
didn't she get murdered by her husband? I don't know the extended lore universe of Japanese urban legends. That's like Junji Ito territory, and I'm not well equipped to handle that.
If you carry a gun and shoot her, those are the questions that ruin the story, but they're really fun to ask.
Yes, the slit mouth woman is walking around rural Houston and just like, am I pretty? And you're like, I don't know. And then she just like busts out the scissors about to come over, just like pulls out a
You better
Glock.
back up past that fence line, girl.
Like, you better get out of here. This is a stand your ground state, and I am part of the castle doctrine. Like, whoa, where did that come from?
Oh god.
I don't remember castle doctrine being a part of SCP lore.
Oh
my
god, can I bring up a funny, this off-topic, somewhat on-topic related thing?
Sure.
Yes.
Okay, so before I was this VTuber, for like a very short stunt of a couple weeks, I was a PNG tuber on a different account, but I decided like, hey, I don't want this. I want to rebrand to something different before I really give a push. But it was a conspiracy channel where I like would cover goofy like conspiracies and horror stories and stuff. And I had two characters I played on the show. One of them was like an AI named Dr. Epsilon, and I was like, let's make him an actual AI. And I tried to train him off of the 4chan conspiracy database, like all of their posts. And it was so unhinged. I was like, I have to delete this and no one can ever see this.
Oh my gosh.
Oh,
I thought of that when you said 4chan. I was like, this can never see the light of day.
Look,
this can now come to be.
look, some things just have to be seen in order to be believed.
Yeah. No, it spewed filth and racism. It had to be deleted.
Wait, oh no, wait, no.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That concludes the end of the show. I'm sorry. I don't control that.
Oh no, I took it out. It's gone. It doesn't exist anymore. You
No.
trade it on 4chan, you get 4chan back out, I've learned. So we don't do that anymore.
I have learned.
Phantom leave? No, Phantom's still here. Look,
Did I leave? What?
Look, all I'm gonna say is the only thing that 4chan does that I find funny are when they take part and swing like public voting things.
Yeah.
No, Phantom is on the desk.
Yeah, he's a little
Trust
guy.
this.
Yeah,
I don't trust this one bit.
it's the little dude on the table. Yeah, no, that's Phantom.
Oh, okay. They were legitimately asking. I was like, nope. Someone got me with the. I can't remember which one it was, but someone got me with one of them the other day, and I was like, and it was a playoff. It was, what was it?
Wait,
Oh no, I don't remember which one it was. It was not Updog, but it was it was an
hit the
Updog
wrong-
equivalent, and it was one I'd never heard in my entire life.
did I just delete? Oh my gosh, I just deleted Nina's message by accident. I'm so sorry. I'm
Like, let's pin that. Boom to the shadow realm.
no,
No, Nina, you're fine. He deleted it by mistake. He might have meant to pin it.
I meant, yeah. Okay. Oh,
Yeah.
thanks for being a part of the chat, Vega. I really appreciate it. Hope you enjoyed the stream. Anyway,
Yeah. It's great.
I mean, the only thing I think of is when I did the, hey chat, what is the evolution of Slugma in Pokemon?
Yeah, you tried that on me.
I know I did.
Oh no. I can't tell if this is gonna be an inappropriate joke.
Well,
or
hold
not.
on. But do you know what the evolution of Slugma is?
Yeah.
What is it?
Isn't it like magma or something?
I don't think it's magma.
It's the bigger one with the shell.
Cargo.
Cargo, okay.
Yeah, my cargo beep beep.
Ah, okay. That was so much more tame than I was worried it was gonna be.
No, yeah. Well, that's what he. What were we? We were streaming something, and he was like, "Hey, Phantom, what's the evolution of Slugma?" And I was like, "Nope, absolutely not. I don't know. I don't know what you're trying to do with it, but I'm not doing it."
And
That's so funny.
I still pushed it. I still forced it because guess what?
Yeah, you just said it. Which
Because
that was the funniest way to go about it. It was just like, oh, well, cargo beep beep, and I was like, what?
well, because it's the same rationale of, you know, we're talking about Steve Jobs, and then that's what I asked, who's Steve Jobs, and nobody said anything, and I just said Ligma balls. Like I was waiting for somebody to say it. I'm like, well, if no one's gonna do it, fine. I guess I'll do it myself.
Oh god, that brings up. So this is a really random like challenge I faced. Is I'm trying to program the new AI to anticipate and be prepared for the dragon jokes because she's gonna fall for all of them otherwise.
Oh,
And you know everybody's gonna hit her with it.
What are we, Dragon?
Everybody.
What about Dragon?
You know everybody's gonna be like, dragon these, you know. and I'm
Dragon
just-
what?
You know very well, sir.
What do we Dragon Vega?
Oh, Vega doesn't understand. Vega, you can say what you want on the show. It's Val who's holding himself to a higher standard. That's the best part.
See, I try to hold myself to a higher standard on collabs, though. I act a little less unhinged.
The only thing
It's
is,
just-
unless I play
it's
Ultimate
gonna be
Chicken
me.
Horse, in which I might swear like a sailor.
That was funny. That was so funny.
You
You,
thi-
almost dropped some on that.
I almost said the F word, but I said fa.
Yeah. I thought you did. It was pretty
Yeah,
great.
no, don't
was
worry. I
having a
didn't say
great
the
time.
F word. I didn't say the F word. I did say the D word. So the DAM word, guy, is nothing. Darn. I said darn. That's okay. I said. Oh. All right, moving on.
Grease, that's gonna sound so bad without the context. They don't know you're talking about a clip.
Does it jiggle? But it didn't work that much. Plap, plap, plap.
Somebody prompted her and she said something really unhinged on my my re-debut stream.
So
it's
Oh no.
Is Grease your Nina? Because Nina is our resident
Is
unhinged.
Grease your Nina?
Grease like has little moments, but they're generally pretty tame. I would say Butter is the unhinged one. He's one of my good pals,
Butter.
and that's who caused the clips that Grease is talking about.
That's awesome.
Butter frog, butter dog, dog with a butter.
Yep.
Can I pet that dog?
Compare that dog.
I'm just thinking of that one video where it's one of my favorite little videos. It's like, hey, get that guy out of here. When he sticks his hand
where
in
he
the
puts the
dog.
hand in the mouth.
Butter is Nina's replacement. I don't think anybody can replace Nina. Chew, you aren't allowed to have them. Anyways, Vegas. No, we're not talking about Vegas.
You can't eat me. I'm not food. I'm sorry.
Well, I think it'd be fun for us to move to our first little segment of conversation, which
Okay.
it pertains to your. Pardon me, which pertains to your project. So why don't we talk a little bit about that? So what is this project about? Aurora Chan AI.
The Aurora one. Okay. So basically, I'm just a big fan of AI related things. Not really art, because they're not ethically training that, but
Yeah.
just anything with like AI comprehension, AI understanding, you know, what level is the point where it crosses over to actual thinking and reasoning. And I watch these things, I fiddle with the code a lot. I have an open AI account where I mess with the chatbots way too much. And I was like watching someone collab with Neurosama one day, and I was like, hey, wait a minute. Why don't I just like do my own take on this? I'm literally a computer scientist with too much free time and a streaming account. Let's just make it happen. So now I'm trying to make it happen and not like copy Neurosama, obviously. Try and do my own thing because we don't need two of the same thing. So trying to find my own angle on it.
So then, do you plan on
Yeah.
with creating this kind of character? Do you plan on making this a mainstay like within your channel, or do you want to have like just a separate channel to begin with and just have that flourish into its own little career?
So one thing I'm thinking of doing is kind of dividing it up. So like she'll always be on my channel, but to limit what she can do when I'm streaming to like she's not just free reading the chat. You have to send her a message. She reacts to certain things, but she's not like leading the show. Whereas like right now, if you watch my stream, she kind of takes over at points and just like doesn't stop talking like mid collab, which is kind of funny, but at the same time is like it's a lot to focus on. So the goal is like to kind of minimize that and then have streams where like it's her doing her own thing and then collabing with other people on a separate channel. So it's kind of on both.
Yeah, that's a tough balance to strike. I've been having a lot of that where I've been beefing up my channel point rewards, but they have started. But I designed them when I was doing more solo streams or streams with people that I'm very familiar with, and I've realized that on collaboration streams, stopping to play GeoGuessr is very distracting to other people, and it's also like, do you go quiet while you're playing it, or while you're doing this, or like for you, like do you have Aurora Chan in the chat where they can hear what's going on, or do you have her off to the side so that way she's not like going off the walls when they're talking? Do you wait while she's talking if someone else is talking to you? Yeah, there's a lot of balance with that. That's got to be tough.
Yeah. Like how do you personally see the use of this AI like kind of improving or enhancing your like enhancing the interaction that you have with your audience?
So one good thing, and that was the main reason I started doing it originally too, was like not only is this
Jeez.
just like a fun thing I'm interested in, but like sometimes like I'm doing a collab and I don't see the chat immediately, or like a really intense moment's happening and it might be 10-15 seconds before I see that chat message. But I don't want someone new to come in, be a first-time chatter, and I ignore them for 30-45 seconds because something crazy happened on screen, which is understandable, but at the same time it doesn't make them feel very special. So now when I'm doing this, she can be entirely focused on them, and it kind of creates that dynamic of she can interact more. The goal is to have like channel point redeems that are totally centered around making her do things. Like I talked about earlier, I want to replace my sound alerts with her. So instead of paying for sound alerts, you pay her a couple bits and you can make her jump scare me in a really intense moment or something by like screaming in my ear. And then the fun thing with that is instead of just being like a generic phasmophobia sound, you can tell her what kind of scare you want and she'll like think about it and try and implement that.
Oh, I mean that sounds super cool. But something I'm thinking about as you're talking about this, while it's so cool for the audience to see, is like what kind of challenges do you kind of are you thinking about or anticipating by using this? Like because as I understand, you are creating this from the ground up.
Yeah. So like the version that's running right now is made by someone I met called Ruben. And like I've added a couple little things to the channel on top of it, and I've set up all the personality configs, but like he did the integration to where like it's linking the AI that I've got set up on OpenAI to the Twitch chat, and it's linking it to the voice service. I'm now remaking all that basically in 2.0, but he did good with that, but I'm trying to build it up to be like a little more customizable. I think I lost the original question. The ADHD's real. What was the question?
Oh no, that is completely fine. We have we actually had this same discussion or same kind of like thing happened yesterday with Vam, where Vam's like, what was the question again? My ADHD was kind of making things a little hard, and then everybody in chat was like, yo, same. And then I said, I don't have ADHD. I don't know who said it, but somebody said, you just don't know it yet. And I'm like,
That was me.
that was you? I had a feeling that was you.
Yep, that was me.
It was.
That would be me.
Yeah, that was just like, nah, he's built different. He's better than the rest.
He's built different.
A superior streamer.
Oh my god.
But so the question,
I don't know about superior. I think you need a certain level of ADHD to be able to handle all the stuff going on. Especially if you're going to stream regularly.
A certain level of neurodiversity is part of a stream personality.
I just don't have neurons.
That's diversity right there.
Go get it tested.
That's actually like, I mean, I'm not a scientist. I have no basis for this, but I actually have like a baseless, I'll call it a baseless theory, that way people can't yell at me for it. But I have a feeling, because evolution stopped when we started taking care of people who weren't going to make it in the wild.
Oh yeah.
And over time we've gotten more and more considerate of people who are disabled, people who have conditions. We're getting better at medicine. We're getting better at accommodating those people. And I feel that evolution is now no longer survival of the fittest. It's just survival, and whatever genes are going to take over, they're going to take over. In a couple thousand years, everyone is going to have tan skin. They're going to have brown eyes. They're going to have curly black hair, because they're going to take all of the dominant traits are going to keep being passed along, and they're going to take over. I have a very strong feeling that the reason we've seen a rise in things like autism and ADHD and like other like mental disorders, that some of them were present but weren't as present, I have a very strong feeling that it's because we're just like trying to make sure everybody survives now, that evolution's just kind of going where it goes. And I think that I think ADHD and neurodiversity is like the first step in like, oh, this isn't just like, oh, weird, like maybe there's something in the water, maybe there's something in vaccines. It's like, I personally think, no, we're just keeping absolutely everything in the gene pool now. And so like we as a race are just changing, and this is just step number one.
So what you're saying is that we're built different.
I'm saying we're built different, and in the same, I think that in the same way that there are snow leopards and regular leopards, I think that there will be a break where people who have autism and other disabilities on the spectrum, they will break away, and I think they've already started to, and they will become a totally separate race of Homo sapiens that are just, they're different. It's just like a variant. So yeah, built different 100%.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just things change over time, and I think this is just one of those things where it takes hundreds of thousands of years for those changes to occur, and I think the idea of this being like the first step is a really cool idea to me.
Yeah, I'm a good example of that, because if I was born like a couple hundred years earlier, either natural selection or someone burning me at a stake because they thought I was a demon would have probably taken me out either way. Because I have narcolepsy and I get randomly twitchy and pass out and stuff, and I've got a tumor, and it's just like a whole plethora of medical issues. Like the American healthcare system is pitting me up 100%. So like, yeah, I'm a good example of that. Like I should not have been allowed to make it this far and potentially get back into the gene pool. So yeah, you know, I joke about that. I don't think I'll ever have kids. I would adopt, but I don't want to pass anything on, you know? So like, I get that. That makes sense. Natural selection's wild.
All I gotta
Yeah,
say,
it's wild. Well, that's. Oh, go ahead, Val.
I was gonna say, all I gotta say is just that, like, when you think about how much we as humans have changed, that have come with time, it goes back to the controversial topics of what would a peasant boy in the 1800s do if he tasted a Dorito. Like, if you gave that to a peasant boy, his mind would
Nothing would
literally
have flavor.
explode. His brain cannot comprehend the flavor of a nacho cheese Dorito.
Imagine that's the future of advertisement once time travel's invented. They just like grab a peasant boy from the Victorian era and give him like flavor blasted goldfish and watch him spasm. They're like, look how good it is.
It's a holographic billboard of watching like a peon from age of yore.
Oh
that's
my
just like going
gosh.
ham on a bag of Cool Ranch Doritos. Like,
He's like, I just see like a salesman, you know, go back in time to caveman. He's just like, ooh, ooh,
Yeah.
ooh, ooh, ooh,
Yeah.
ooh, 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 ooh. And then you just have, you just see like the man in the suit walk over. He's like, greetings, fellow cavemen and Homo sapiens. I have something for you. You see that steak right there? It can be better. Well put. Well put. Now, what I have in my briefcase here that is unrefrigerated is something that will shock you. It's called butter.
I was thinking more of the how it feels to chew 5 gum, and there's just the caveman just like. Just going absolutely insane somewhere in the background.
Yes.
See,
The man walks up and says, try this stick of gum. He goes, ooh, ooh, takes one bite, suddenly just skips the entire process of the ascent of man. Thank you, kind sir. I have now seen the light.
Oh my god, there was a Geico commercial like that in the past, wasn't there? Where like he got Geico and suddenly became civilized?
See,
Wasn't that a thing?
That would yes. And then they use the caveman and frickin' everything.
see, that's
Yeah, like even a caveman could do it.
that.
I didn't even think about
that's
that.
what-
But
that-
yes, it was.
That is one of my
Whoa.
favorite commercials because it has like such a good song. I think the guy who did it is like Ryscop or something like that, and it did a song called "Remind Me." And it's like a really good bop. Not the point. The point is you see the caveman in like travel wear, and he has his bag. He's going down the vertical or the horizontal escalator. And as he's passing by, he sees an ad that he's on by Geico, and he walks back and stops and just kind of sits and admires it, just kind of like, hey, that's me kind of thing. It's the great, like, it's such a good commercial.
Yeah. Yeah, they got a little oversaturated after they did a bunch of them, but the first few were great.
Okay, so then here's
100%.
a question for both of you. I want to hear this from.
Okay.
I want to hear these answers. Is what do you think would be the funniest thing, let me restart. What do you think would be the funniest thing to bring back to somebody in time, whatever period in time you want, to somebody there? What do you think would be the best thing to elicit the best reaction that isn't like a modern medical or technological marvel? You know, like, for instance, say, yes, I want to give Marie Antoinette a slap chop. You know, or maybe Napoleon.
No, what are you talking about?
I'll give Napoleon's like a ShamWow. I'm not, you know, something like that. Nothing like I will give them vaccines, kind of thing. Welcome.
Hello, Garo.
Thank
another
you
one of
for
my good
that.
friends.
Wait, hold on. Okay, my throwing system isn't working. This one's for you.
See, all you do is you go back in time, and because you know what, Betty White didn't make it to 100, and we all know why. She didn't have enough resources at her disposal. I go back to Betty White when she's 16, and I go, "Hey Betty, how are ya? Like, good to see ya. Like, this is
Do we want to roleplay this?
size body pillow of everyone's favorite femboy,
My gosh.
Sebastian Valentine, and you can have it. I made it just for you."
Oh god, if you turned her into like a weeb voice actor, oh my god, you would change all of
forever.
history.
She'd live forever.
Are we role playing the idea of Betty White as a voice actor, just friggin' remember my time on Golden Girls, you know, guess what? That was me who was
that?
you see that? Guess what else I did? I was Asuka in Evangelion.
Oh god.
God, I would love that alternate version of history, please.
Shinji, get in the robot.
But man, so I've actually thought about this. What would be my one thing I brought back while watching trashy isekais for like the 7,000th time?
Yeah.
So you just take a lot of a really big case of matches with you, okay? So not only can you create fire, which would be amazing in the past, but if you strike metal and rocks against matches hard enough, they ignite into fire.
Yeah.
So you just embed the tips of a ton of matches on weapons, and you can pretend like you're like a firebender, and it will amaze and terrify everyone.
This guy,
that you have
Dr.
a burning
Stones.
axe. And it just matches, you know? It's the one thing. You know, that's all you need.
All right.
That's
All right.
evil.
All right, Phantom. What about you? What about you, Phantom?
So if I had to bring something back, like, so is there a specific time period, or
You can pick whatever time period you want.
man? Because I mean, I feel like I don't know. I'm such a man of modern luxury. Like, if I was just trying to elicit a reaction, I feel like bringing back anime figures would be really funny during like a revolution. Like just like the Boston Tea Party's going on. They're like, yeah, like fuck the British. Like we need to establish our independency. I show up in full cosplay. I'm like, yeah, let's get them. And they're just like, who is this strangely dressed man? And I'm like, don't you know? This is my fursuit.
Just like freaking the Battle of Valley Forge. You just see George Washington crest the hill, go down. People are dying. The snow is pouring. What's that on the hill? Is that a bear? It's just you dressed in a fursuit.
I'm Freddy Fazbear, and I'm here to free the American people.
My gosh. No.
Gregory.
Georgie, the bite of 1887. The bite of 1887 took a. My gosh, the bite of 1787. Woo.
I don't know I don't know what would be closest. I'm so bad at history. History and
That'd be-
geography were so.
That'd be 1787 because that was the revolutionary time
Okay.
period.
I'm bad at everything. Okay? I'm moderately okay at many things.
So let's see. What would I bring that would that would blow the mind of like a peasant? I got it. All right, you ready for this?
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Febreze. No, hear me out. Hear me out. These people, okay? These people, you know, back then they just didn't have a concept of like fragrance. And when I say fragrance, I mean contained fragrance that you could just bring anywhere besides a candle. And even then, candle making was like there were no MLMs back then during like the Revolutionary War where people were making scented candles and selling them at their local markets saying, yes, I make these and you can make money too, just recruit 2 of your friends. You know, that wasn't a thing.
Oh god.
That wasn't a thing. So just imagine you're in the trenches of or you're like aboard a ship that was taken by the British during the War of 1812. You're sitting on that ship. Things are smelling bad. Things are dying. You're wondering what's gonna happen. You just go over there. You're like, are you stinky? Are you smelly? Maybe. Did you shower? No. Just Febreze them. Suddenly the world changes. Like all of a sudden, it goes from smelling like death smells like forest. Maybe it smells like wood. Could smell like spring. Just imagine that.
Oh man, the one problem with that is if you give that to a plague doctor, they're just gonna go around spraying everyone with the bubonic plague, being like, "You're cured, and now you're cured, and now you're cured," and then they're gonna go back into the
Greatest
populace and kill
doctor
even
of
more
all
of the
time.
population.
Oh, just so you know how those plague doctor masks, the reason why they're pointed, they
Yes.
stick herbs up there as kind of a filtration system.
Yeah, they thought smell equaled sickness, so they'd just be like spraying everyone like, "You're all
Well,
cured,"
no,
and then they would go back into the populace and kill everyone.
Just
We wouldn't have made it past the Black Plague because of your Febreze.
Ju- Just imagine you have a plague doctor with the mask. He takes like a can of Febreze and shoves it up his nose, like full on canister with the trigger, and all he has to do is just freaking pull that, go straight into the nostrils. I'm cured. There's no
I
plague.
am become inevitable.
My God.
Oh my god. Yeah, it just wipes out the entire just European and Asian continents, and all that's left is the Native Americans, and it's just the alternate version of history where it's just them.
Oh my gosh, what a tangent we went on.
Dude, we'd have some cool freaking like cultural shit if we let the Native Americans like do their own thing. Like we lost a lot of cool shit with that one. Same with like the South Americas. Like they had some wild cultural stuff. It's neat.
Whew.
Those guys did weed before it was cool.
My gosh.
The hemp plant, excuse me.
Oh, but what originally spurned this because of the whole ADHD topic.
Oh yeah, the thing you think you don't have.
The thing I don't have.
yeah.
I don't think I have it. But only a doctor can tell me that. Anywho, we're not talking about diagnosis. We're not Dr. Oz. We're not fakes and shams. So back to the question I was originally going to ask, because we were talking about AI and you were using your AI with that.
Yeah.
Since you built up your AI from the ground up, and you know the limitations and the technical difficulties, what challenges do you anticipate by implementing your own AI into your streams?
Oh, I don't remember where I was going now. So I was talking about, so the one a Ruben made can only interface with OpenAI, which is the same people that makes ChatGPT, which works absolutely fabulous. If you come by my streams, like you'll see it works.
Yeah.
However, there's a lot of filtering on there. Some of it's great, some of it keeps it from saying something insensitive. Some of it keeps it from, responding to someone prompting it with a racist prompt to say something racist back. It'll tell them off, and then I ban them, and boom, we're good.
Okay.
Where I'm building my second one from the ground up, it has no filtering whatsoever. So I have to make all of the filtering. So I have to decide what could happen in chat. What could some person maliciously do? And I have to try and anticipate every scenario I possibly can and put in a failsafe for it and every potential word and everything. And that's been my biggest setback. So like at first, 2.0 is probably not going to talk, or at least it's going to be very limited in how much you can do with chat and mostly talk to me and people I'm streaming with, because I know they won't prompt it that way.
Yeah.
So that's like my biggest hurdle right now, is basically giving it a conscience of not like a conscience as in thinking, but a conscience as in morally. How do you set its alignment properly?
Because you're essentially having
Which
to
is really hard to do.
Yeah, you're essentially having to think of a million different scenarios, and even then these are based on your experience. So it's limiting too, because you can't think of every conceivable possibility.
Yeah, because like I was testing 2.0 the other day, and I was prompting it with stuff, and I got it to tell me how to make drugs and how to break into a car and hotwire it. And I was like, neither of these things can happen on stream. So, like, it's unhinged. So yeah, it'll do whatever you ask it, which is not good.
I just saw Chiro's comment of they would bring their FNAF character encyclopedia to the people of old. I don't know how. I don't know if. Yes. How are you doing, William Howard Taft, former president of the United States? Why don't you listen to me ramble? Thank you for the follow, Mystica. I appreciate it.
Oh, Mystica, that's one of my best buddies too. That's awesome. All the cool people coming in.
Let me get this going for you.
Ooh.
Because I need to fix my throwing system when I get a redeem.
I truly know the most evil usage of that FNAF lore book. You put it in the hands of H.P. Lovecraft and just be like, this is a cursed tome of knowledge, and then you leave. And you just leave.
You just walk away slowly. You stealth away.
Yeah. Just imagine what insane things he would have written if he had that as his starting point instead of normal books, because he was so scared of normal books that he wrote what he wrote.
Dude, I would just, you know what would be really fun is you go find like whoever, like you go find like the founder of a religion, and you're like, hey. Like that was cool. Like I watched him Walk on Water too. That was really neat and all. Here's 5th edition Dungeons and Dragons, where like that's a spell. That's just in there. You can do that.
That's in that.
Throwing Dr. Pepper is funny.
I know a super villain level way of using this instead.
I'm sorry. The text-to-speech throwing Dr. Pepper is funny. It just caught me off guard.
Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't even hear it.
Oh my goodness. Yes. How are you doing, Abraham? Please don't kill your son Isaac. Instead, here's 5e D&D.
No. This is how you do it even more evil. You take all of the D&D books that are, and you try and make them kind of old your English, okay? And when people were smuggling Bibles out and written in English whenever they didn't want it to be translated from Latin, you swap them all with 5th edition books. And then the Holy Wars just explode in a way that never happened in actual history.
It's like watching Warhammer. It's like 40k fans fight the fantasy ones.
Yeah. They're like, we have the scriptures, and they're like quoting Warhammer, and the Catholic Church is like, burn them all.
My gosh.
You know, it would be really fun. I don't know why I didn't think about this. You go way back in the day.
Okay.
Go way back in the day.
All right.
And you just bring like a drone with a loudspeaker on it. And you just fly that up in the air. And it's just like you can do it during the Holy War. It's like, stop. And they're all just like, oh, this is it. Like, he's come to tell me I'm right. And you're like, all of you are wrong. See that guy over there?
In the fursuit?
Like, holding that weird box?
In the
It's me,
fursuit?
Like, in the fursuit, waving on top of a hill. And they're like, that dude is right. You should go listen to him.
That is your prophet.
Oh, build up on that. Instead of one drone, you do one of those drone shows. You know, the Asian drone shows that like show full pictures in the sky.
Full on
I know what I need to bring back. Not one thing. I need the Blue Angels.
My God.
Yes.
Yes, the Crusades, you know, the Knights Templar trying to take the Holy Land. Yeah, never mind. We just see the Blue Angels do a flyby at like Mach 3. That'll get them.
I mean, at some point, like if you're going back that far, like a gun. Like,
a gun.
like, that'll
Yeah.
do it. Yeah. You just get like oh my God, I mean, it could really be anything. I feel like Desert Eagle is just the meme choice. But like you're just like, I have been sent by God, and someone's like, I don't know who this guy is. You rush in, it's like, bam, and they're like, that was it. That was loud, and he died. I'm pretty sure that like that's what he does right now. That's what he does. Like,
Yes, I go back in time to the Holy Wars, and they're just like, what witchcraft is this? What is that? I just fire it. That, my friend, is 50 Action Express.
No, you have to
And
make it
full
even
metal
spicier.
jacket.
You yell Avada Kedavra and then you shoot them.
You just delete
Oh, you
them.
can do whatever you want. I mean, you could do whatever you want. You could literally like just pretend to do like an incantation.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what I would do. I'd be like,
Well,
like, I have been blessed by the heavens. The heavens have blessed me, and they have given unto me the power to smite thee who is unworthy. Bam! And it's just like, oh man, look at that.
Pulls out a 50 caliber, be like, God can smite thee across the land.
just does a 360 no scope.
Oh my God, I'm just spinning around. I'm like, that one, bang.
You dare doubt me and my godly capabilities? Watch as I go from here to there in less than you can blink. He gets in his like 98 Honda Civic and just floors it.
Yeah, at that point, just bring a taser. Like,
Yeah, there's
it's
so
just
many
like,
fun places you could drop guns.
You just put your hand. It's like, if you are worthy, I will heal you. You just tase them, and it's like, wow, just wow. What did you do? Like,
Do you think if you gave like I don't know, I was just thinking, but do you think if you gave like Charles Darwin like an iPhone when he was on the Galapagos Islands, what do you think he'd do with it?
Probably poop his pants. Instantly.
I have no
You're
idea.
shocked.
I mean, that's like if you just went back in time and Einstein was like, yeah, I've got all this stuff, and you're like, hey, guess what? Black hole. This is what it looks like. Thanks. You were right. See ya. Like,
Yeah.
do you want to give someone like who's already that smart like a heads up? Like that's like if that would be like if you went back to like the First World War, or I can't remember when it was, but if you went and you found Hitler before he lost one of his nuts, and you're like, hey, your art, it's fantastic, bro.
It's
Like,
beautiful.
your
Have
dad
a
wasn't
crisp
really on
50.
board,
Have a
but,
crit.
like,
I'll buy your art. Here's a
have a
fiver.
crisp 50. Can you imagine if $20 changed the world like that?
Yep. Oh man.
Oh my
See,
God.
you guys think of like the most beautiful ways to use things, and I'm like, what if we went to a village Genghis Khan was raiding and gave a young boy an AR-15? Like, what would happen then?
Well, I mean, then
They're using
everyone would be different.
They're using spears versus 5.56. What would win in a battle?
What if I just went there with my iPhone and they showed up and I was like, you can't touch me. I have 14 million power.
This is a good example of chaotic neutral versus chaotic good right now.
You can't.
Yeah, of course.
You can't touch me. I can turn you into a dog. Flips phone and just does like a Snapchat filter on Genghis Khan.
Oh my god.
He's like, "Ooh, what was that? I'm a dog. Where are the ears? Where's my?
I'm just like, I just get like a magic 8-ball pulled up on the phone, and I'm just like, I can tell your future, and it's like you suck, and I'm just like,
I didn't realize this magic 8-ball's working against me. Oh my goodness, this is
there's so much fun stuff you could do. There's so much.
Yeah.
I mean, at that point, just get some glitter.
Yeah.
Like,
Go
you
to
don't even have
ancient
to go so
Egypt.
advanced. Yeah, I'm just like, pa, like, and just I'm glitter bombing people,
Where-
and they love it.
Where did you attain such power? From a mystical place called Michael's.
Crafts and more.
Crafts and more. Just don't go to Hobby Lobby. They don't like barcodes.
God, oh no. Oh, I was doing a D&D murder mystery campaign once, and I needed fake blood, and there was no Halloween stores anywhere nearby. I couldn't find anything. I was on a deadline. I couldn't like go to Amazon. So it's like, I'll go to Hobby Lobby and buy red paint. And I asked this poor old lady in the arts and crafts section when they dried. I was like, when they dry, which one do you think will look the most like blood? And I've never seen a more horrified expression in my life. It turned from like chill to oh dear God. And then I had to try and explain to her it was for a murder mystery game, and she was like, she still looked appalled.
Oh
She helped
my
me, though.
gosh, that is so funny. Whew. Which one looks the most like blood? Why do you need that, young man? Oh, because I'm practicing my satanic rituals. Duh.
Yeah, she was like, maybe this one looks very dark when it dries. And I was like, thank you.
I'm not gonna lie. I thought you were gonna start that with, yes, I was doing a murder mystery, and it was inside of a Hobby Lobby.
Yes. Yeah, who killed the underpaid employee?
Who killed? They died from just sadness. Hobby Lobby. That's the thing. Hobby Lobby is such a weird place because you're like, one second you're looking at all the different rubber band guns they have. The next you're looking like entire dioramas of just like the Civil War.
Yep.
And then you go to the next aisle, you just see a bunch of plastic fake fruit. Like, what the heck?
It's a
dude.
wild place.
Dude, you just go there, you show up, like you go into the king's castle and you're like, I have found the prophet, like he is the true Messiah, and they're like, who is this man? I hold the little green dude, I press his foot and he goes, training you need. And then I'm just like, he has spoken.
Oh my God. Okay, the show was pretty mid, but it had its really funny moments. Have you all ever seen Legends of Tomorrow?
No.
They did a gag like that. It was basically like a bunch of the D-list DC heroes on like the Arrow CW verse. Like they put them on a show with time travel. And on one of the shows, they accidentally dropped like this Christmas toy that talked. It was basically like it was a royalty-free version of Tickle Me Elmo, basically. And it like became a god and changed all of history. And they were like, what have we done?
That's amazing.
Uh,
The magic conch.
My gosh.
Yeah, pretty much.
So what you're saying is we need to drop a Tickle Me Elmo in just any point during the Christian canon verse, and suddenly we have ourselves a new book in the Old Testament.
Look, that's copyright though. We can't do that. So what we're gonna do instead is we're going to buy an animation studio, and we are going to create an isekai anime where the guy gets to bring along his Tickle Me Valentine, and everyone gets to worship a little plushie of Sebastian Valentine that has 72 recorded voice lines, 35 of which are about being a bottom.
You stole my joke. I was about to say that.
Imagine you drop a Tickle Me Elmo in like the middle of an Aztec temple and they just sacrifice hearts to him for like 2 years and then he dies and they're like, we've displeased the god.
Oh my god, the batteries die. Our prophet has not spoken to us in many an age.
He has just sat there, dying. And then you come over, oh, sorry, here's the batteries. And I left a Fred, it's just a Furby.
Yeah.
Can you imagine? But like towards the end though, because the battery, they don't just turn off when the battery dies. They're like...
and then the eyes like start twitching and stuff. Yeah, they'd be like, our god is displeased.
Our god is trying to say something, but he is spazzing out.
His words are muffled and I can't understand them. Innocent. His word is law.
Write that down, write that down. Attention, we need to write that down. That is the sacred text, and that's what we have is the modern day Gregorian or the modern day Aztec calendar. Oh my goodness.
It's like, what's that stone that they like? There's a language service named after it. It's
Rosetta
like
Stone.
Yeah, it's like the Rosetta Stone. It's just Tickle Me Elmo quotes when they finally translate it.
Oh my
No,
god.
we go back, we steal the Rosetta Stone, we replace it by going to Stonehenge and carving into it the entire lore of Genshin Impact, and we just see what happens.
They finally crack the code. They're like, "What is Shrek is love? Shrek is life."
No.
At the very bottom, it just says like with an asterisk, Fenty is not as good as you think.
Oh, I'll fight you on that. My whole team's based around Venti.
Oh, we
Gotta rep the bards.
Oh my goodness. Well, I think it's time we move to a different topic because we talked a little about. Do you think we can see your little AI your little AI pal? Yeah.
Yeah. Let's see. Will this?
Ah!
Will that do it? Yep. There she is.
If only she could
do.
speak to us.
So I could have the 1.0 speak. Now, disclaimer with the 1.0, like this is the one that Aruben did a lot of work on. This is not the 2.0 I'm working on, but I could have it speak if you want.
I wouldn't mind that. So where's
It's
it?
entirely up to you, because I totally get what you were saying, where you're like, yeah, someone else did most of the work, and like I kind of iterated on it. It's like I have the same thing where it's like, it is your original work. That is something you put a lot of time into. But because I have something very similar where I'm like, yeah, like I'm working on a project that I've mentioned on stream, but I'm starting to realize it could be much bigger, and I want to start keeping it more under wraps. And it actually stemmed from a streamer friend of mine, and so I reached out to them. I was like, hey, this doesn't feel like my idea. I can't do this without at least getting your permission or offering you like some form of compensation for the project if it takes off. Like it's the most like, it's a perfectionist thing. It's that closet perfectionist where you're like, yeah, like, like it's awesome and I love it. I put all my time into it, but someone else did this one thing that affected it greatly. And so now I don't feel like it's my thing anymore because someone else touched it, and I feel like they deserve equal credit, even if it was just X, Y, or Z. Like it doesn't matter what the amount is.
Yeah, like, and yeah, that's one thing. Like, I don't mind having her talk and say something goofy if you want to consider a message. But like, disclaimer on that for everyone: you can get 80 to 90% of the functionality I do on stream with. Now, granted, it would be a lot of tweaking on top of it, but just by purchasing VTS Pog that Aruben sells.
Pog?
So like, that's a it's VTS-POG, and like you can do a AI-enabled chatbot that way. And it'll like even read your Twitch chat and stuff, which is cool. And like that's a lot of what the 1.0 is based on. I just threw a lot of like the prompting and guidance on how she should act on top of it.
So then how does the voice chat if we got that to work. Does that?
So yeah, I can't do the voice chat today, unfortunately. I could talk to it, but you all definitely couldn't because I can't get it in the Discord. It's for some reason, like I was telling you earlier, whenever I connect it to Discord, she immediately mutes my audio and I can't hear anymore.
Oh.
And I don't know how to fix that. I spent all morning on it.
Ooh. Well,
Yeah.
here's hoping we'll be able to see it in the future.
Yeah. I would love to show it off in the future, but it just like I can talk to her. She just it does the Monica from Doki Doki Literature Club where she's like, only me. You will hear no one else when I turn her on.
I see. Well, talking more outside the scope of VTubing, like AI with VTubing, do you see, or rather, how do you think that the VTuber community as a whole might be able to benefit from AI that's kind of it becoming more and more accessible?
I think it's a really great chat interaction tool because like you can go and you can set it up and you can tell it how you want it to act. And now granted, there's a lot of study on AI prompting to get it to respond exactly how you want. But if you just want it to just generic talk and be like, hey, I am this person, this is my name, this is the kind of thing I like, you can get that pretty easily. And that's a good interaction tool. That'll cost you money if you do it that way. Because if you're not running your own local one, you have to pay for like usage time. You have to pay for every message you send back and forth in like word chunks called tokens.
Yeah.
It'll charge you for those. So it's not very expensive, but it's a costly thing. So there is a cost to it, but I think it's a great tool for interaction and bringing people in. And like, you know, it's great to have collabs. Like this is my favorite kind of stream to be on, is something like this. But there's not always someone available to come hang out and do goofy stuff with you and bounce stuff back and forth off of.
Of course.
And with AI, like you can get someone that, even though it doesn't fit the same role, it still gives you someone to talk to, be goofy with, you know. It gives a little bit more of an initiation, maybe draws people in because it's like less of awkward silence, more talking. And I think it'll really be good for small streamers, which, you know, their chat might be dead, but they could have an AI to talk to, and then something funny happens, and someone that comes by to watch says, oh, you know, that's really funny, and they hop in on that conversation, and now you've got a more organic conversation going as well, and it kind of helps facilitate that, you know?
Yeah, I mean, I completely understand. And I feel like when people talk about how useful and how cool AI is, but also they demonize it, I feel like a lot of that's, they kind of take more of the negative aspects and brandish that more than the positive, because like when we look at AI and its possibilities, it's a wonderfully useful thing that people can use. Like for instance, I know several voice actors that when they want to find they just want to practice with just some scripts or some lines of dialogue that they just can't think of or write, and they just don't have the ability to find original content, they'll just throw it into like a chat GPT and like, hey, write me like a monologue I could practice voice acting with, or ask chat GPT to help you write lore for your character, where some people who may not have the accessibility to do a lot of things in terms of like writing or ideas or creation, they just have a little bit of difficulty. Because I know I've experimented in the past, just like, hey, give me an idea for not an idea, pardon me, give me a script, because I plugged in an idea that I had for a video. I'm like, this is the idea of the video, help me with the script and give me some ideas on how I can do like the editing process for it, because I was just curious. I'd never used it, and so it gave me the entire script that I needed, but also, like, in parentheses, gave me different editing techniques and different clips to throw in there, like intermittently throughout the script. And I'm like, wow, this is super impressive. I never would have thought of that. But then you see that how people attributed negative things to it, like AI voice replication. Or
it's very much a tool of like how you choose to use it.
Yeah, or like AI art. Like for instance, hammers are used to build houses, and they're used to to hammer nails. But that kind of tool can be used as a weapon too, if misused, or it can hurt somebody. So I feel like the same thing is, if you're using that tool incorrectly, it can hurt people. You just have to make sure you're using it correctly. And now some people could of course make the argument of, and I want to make it known, I don't support AI art because of what it does to the creators, the original creators of the art. I want to make that clear. It's more in the aspect of AI art needs to be refined and changed to a point where it doesn't steal pre-existing things, because
that's just a case of like they wanted it to be quick and easy to get data, and that's why it's the way it is. Because like, for example, that's one of the challenges I have with Aurora is I want to train her off stream VODs from streamers. So I take moments where I think this is really interesting, this how this interaction happened, so I go and I download the VOD, I transcribe it, and then I get the chat and I compare timestamps and I give her sort of a calm response of like, hey, this is a funny way you can kind of act.
of course.
Now I could easily go if I wanted to, and I could get all the data I needed in one day if I just ripped from people and didn't ask them. But I'm currently doing a process where I'm like, hey, if you want to apply to let me use stuff, let me know what you're comfortable with. I'll put you in her stream credits forever. You will never leave there. I'll let you know what VODs and stuff I use, and I'll use that as training data to teach her how to not just act like a dragon girl, but to act like a real streamer and respond to things how a streamer would. And, you know, thank you for the raid, thank you for the bits. This is, you know, this is the funny thing that we do when we talk about subathons. This is what this emote means, and kind of memes. And it takes so long to get all that data if you do it ethically, which is what I'm currently doing. And they just didn't want to do that. They just wanted to go rip it all quickly so they could get their project done in time.
I was gonna say, like the learning models that are used are, it's possible to create that AI art from an AI, like the basis of the AI itself, as opposed to taking it from other pieces of art. And the reason why I can say this is because we have used AI in the past for simulations, running it from like the ground up, where I remember like an evolutionary game where all you do is you give it the basis of something, so you have, because the thing is, it can't take it from nothing, it can't create something from nothing, so you have to it either has to get, you either have to give it the permission to take it, or you have to give it the initial thing to start with, and from then it can edit its own process through that purification of your own applications to what you want to get it at. And what I'm thinking of is this game where you essentially build a jointed creature with muscle and bone, and the idea is you give it that first initial push of this is what I have in mind, and then you just hit play, and then you basically see the generations of the thing play out, where it slowly starts to learn and understand what the best route is for going about becoming a bipedal thing.
Yeah.
So AI can clearly adapt should it be given the right circumstances and parameters in the beginning. But it doubles back to what you were talking about before, of people are taking, it seems they want to take the easy route and rip the work of others, as opposed to do what you do, which is you are putting in the time, the effort, and the ethical nature of things, where you're making sure you don't steal from anyone.
Yeah, like, and I could do it even quicker if I just went and say I downloaded the past 3 months of Beatles VODs, and then I just said act like a dragon on top of this, and I like somebody could pump out an AI that acts like a dragon VTuber in a couple days doing that. But like, that is blatant theft. And then now I'm a competing streamer in his niche because I stole his work to do that, and that's not, you know. So yeah, it's a touchy subject, but like, that's
I mean, it's a hard one, sure, because the other thing is that art is like I mean, they always say, like, you know, beauty is in the eye of the beholder. Art is the most subjective thing on the planet, because we can just take a picture of something and then that's it. You have captured that moment. Or you could have a painter do it. And the difference in a painting and getting just a picture blown up, monetarily wise, is massive. It is so much more expensive to have someone painstakingly draw a picture or paint a picture over hours and hours and hours, rather than taking it in the blink of an eye and going to like Staples and then just blowing it up, and then going to Michael's and getting a picture frame.
Yeah,
it's wild, and that's something I've had a lot of problems with, is that like I use AI for like voices with like 11 Labs, and that's something I've done just because before I really started VTubing and making connections, I didn't have any friends that knew how to do audio. That I didn't have anyone besides myself that really did like a excessive amount of voices, like, you know, just like the standard like high school boy at a party voices were like the most that was in my friends and I's repertoire. So it was like for me, like the intro to my stream is an AI, and most people know that right off the bat. It's pretty obvious, but it's I remember there's been a lot of talk with like the unions where they're trying to make sure that just because I voice acted like this character in your game doesn't mean you can use your systems, clone my voice, and then just use it in perpetuity. Like it's for those voice lines, that's it. If you need more voice lines, you can't use AI to do it. If you need them to be done a different way, you need to call me in and pay me to do it. And I feel like it's just such a like, it's such a blurred line as to like, okay, well, when do we just say, all right, well then what can we use AI for? Because you could also make the argument that's like, hey, this AI is going to estimate your taxes. Well, when do accountants come in and be like, hey, that was kind of my whole thing. That was my job that you just took. Like, that's what I did for a living, and I made good money. Now I'm broke. So like, yeah, so like I think that people get so caught up in relating it to artists that they forget that a lot of things can be replaced with AI. Like a ton of things. And very similar to what you were saying with like making your VTuber, where it's like there are some people that are gonna be butthurt because they're gonna be like, well, hey, like I'm an actual person streaming. How come this thing's getting more attention? It's like that doesn't matter. Like you're inserting yourself in something where you don't belong. This is something completely separate. It's different. Like the world is changing. It's always evolving. I mean, imagine how horse breeders felt once the cars were invented and you no longer needed a carriage anymore. And they're like, oh shit. Like now, the only people who buy my stuff are the very wealthy or like the Amish.
Or the Amish.
And that is it.
Or
like
no, you go ahead.
Go ahead.
No, you go ahead. I was just gonna tell a personal. My gosh, an anecdote.
Yeah, but I was gonna say, like, I very much think it's that way. It's like progress is fine. Progress always makes things outdated, but it's like
it's
and
innovation.
I don't think that like AI streamers will ever make regular streamers outdated. But I do, at least not in our lifetime. But like, it's all about, you know, are you building a car with your own ingenuity, or are you building the car because you're somehow stealing money from the horseman? You know, it's like don't kick the person that you're building off of down further and keep them from doing what they're doing. And that's, you know, I feel like that's something that AI art is doing, because like they could get people to volunteer. They could make some kind of art-based game where you get to play it for free, but there's the understanding that your art is fed into this thing. They could even go and they could get Publix Works art, because it's always been a thing where art students will go and they will make their own versions of Publix work and art that's fallen into Creative Commons. They could go and do that, and it would be a little outdated, but you know, it would still work. It may not be able to make an anime girl because that's, you know, that's fallen into Creative Commons yet, but it would work really well, and it would be, you know, it would be ethical. A good example of that is there's a lot of bots out there that steal writers' content that then can write poems and stuff. But there's also a bot that uses all of Shakespeare's works that are in Creative Commons called it's Da Vinci Shakespeare. It's made by OpenAI, and it will write poems based on that. And it's like that's 100% ethical, because anybody can use that as inspiration.
Yeah, well, I would actually counter that by saying, well, when is it ethical? Because that's still Shakespeare's work. Like, just because we are taking it, feeding it into an AI and then using it, does that really make it ethical? And I would actually say no, because at that point, you're not just taking a conglomerate of other people's work, you're taking this person's work. Sure, they're past, but you're now taking their work and doing other stuff with it. And it's sort of like if you synthesize Michael Jackson's voice and had an AI cover of something, and like the company, whoever last owned the rights to like his image and stuff, started releasing it. This happened with Bob Ross, where Bob Ross did not own his own face. Like a company owns Bob Ross's likeness in every aspect you can possibly imagine. And so whenever you buy something that's Bob Ross related, you're not giving Bob Ross money, you're giving a company money that owns all of it, that essentially owns his entire likeness. And
That's fair.
Unfortunately, his likeness was, his full legal name and his actual legitimate human face. And I think that there's got to be a give and take. We haven't found it yet. We'll find it eventually. But I just think people need to take a step back, realize that there are going to be problems with everything we do. And I think the best thing that can come out of this is realizing how many people are willing to stand up for someone that's getting kicked around.
Yeah.
Because that's what's happening. Artists are getting kicked around, they're getting their work stolen, and someone's just compiling it and then iterating on it.
Yeah, and I think you make a good point there, because like there's no precedent for whether Shakespeare is cool with it or not. So I think at that point there's got to be some kind of kickback for a family, or there's got to be some kind of family approval and some nuance there that we've not really achieved yet. But then I think we might be at a point where, and this system needs to be implemented, to where people kind of elect like an organ donor if once their stuff falls into Creative Commons, if it's AI approved or not. So like, for example, I'm a writer. I like AI. I would opt in because I'm like, yes, by all means, I think my writing should be free to train AIs. That would be amazing. Once I'm dead, once, my family's got the kickback from it, if I ever became a famous writer, then, once it's in Creative Commons, by all means, throw it into the training data set. My family's got the kickback, I got the kickback, now it's free. I'm dead in a societal standpoint at that point. So it's like, take my organs now. And then people could elect, no, I'm not comfortable with that. And I think that could be a good system, but like, it's too late for people to elect in or out that are already dead and their works are in Creative Commons,
Right. And
so
I
yeah,
think
that's
that
fair.
There's also something to be said for like inspiration, like with music. So
Give me
I
your organ.
don't write music a lot, very infrequently.
Yeah.
The only times I've ever written music is when like I have been either like in a super good place or like a terrible place.
Yep.
And I have a big like I said earlier, I have an issue where if I feel like if something I do is similar in any way, shape, or form to something someone else has done, whether it's pointed out to me, whether I realize it on my own, I get super in my head. I wrote a song the other day, and I'm super happy with it. It came to me super naturally. I was floored when I first played it, and I was like, yeah, this really conveys exactly what I'm feeling right now. This is great. I love this. And then I took a second and I realized it sounds just like something that would be written by Chris Stapleton. And I was like,
Yeah.
fuck, I have to listen to all of his music now and make sure I didn't like subconsciously like recreate one of his songs and just change lyrics to it or just swap a chord or two, like, because in my head that's not okay, because that's not mine, that's someone else's. And I think that the AI kind of falls in a similar vein. It's different because it's intentionally creating something similar to someone else, but I think that it goes in a very similar direction where it's like, yeah, like if we're taking all of Shakespeare's work and we're compiling it, but we're writing something different, are we not still writing something different? Like if I grew up reading Harry Potter and then I say, you know what, I really want to make a book about like magic and stuff like that, and I write something that has a wizarding school, am I copying J.K. Rowling? Maybe. No.
Well, at that point,
Like,
a lot of
no, or
Yeah.
am I inspired? Like it's so difficult, and there's so many semantics and hoops you can jump through. I think that at the end of the day, everything's already been done before. You're just iterating on it. You're not going to have an original idea that nobody has ever thought of before. The ideas that you have are a compilation of your experiences that you have had. The same with your personality, the same with who you are as a person is based off of, it's nurture and nature, not nurture versus nature, because you are born to think a certain way. Your brain is wired to do certain actions just by the way it's made, and then your parents or whoever raised you instills in you morals, and you take things in from your surroundings, you learn from them. and you are a conglomerate of all of those different things together. And I think AI is just another way of compiling things and then creating something new. I just think that, like you said, where it's like you're just taking other people's works and throwing them in the system. I'd rather get permission. I 100% agree, where I actually don't think it's unethical, but I feel like it is the right thing to do to ask permission.
Oh yeah, 100%. You know, and the way society views things is important too. And if people view it as something inappropriate, you should treat it as such. Is it the best of your ability? Because like, there's nothing inherently wrong with me driving down the road with my middle finger up out the window, but at the same time, people are going to view that negatively, and if it's going to impact them, I should take that into consideration.
Sure. Right. I love that you said take it into consideration instead of saying I shouldn't do that, because it's so important not to stop what you're doing just because the way someone else might perceive it.
Yeah.
But taking it into consideration, saying, okay, like if I do this, this person's not going to like it. Does that matter to me? Should that matter to me? And if it does, how much does it matter? Does that mean I should stop doing it or change how I do it? Because if we all just stopped the second we thought someone was going to be upset about it, we still wouldn't have like things like gay marriage and other movements that would have just stopped. We'd still Rosa Parks she would have gotten up from her seat and just picked a different one, or like would have gotten off the bus. It's like there's so much nuance to this sort of stuff that I get so frustrated when people act like everything's black and white and there's not a million different shades of gray in between. And, I think the bottom line, you just have to be looking out for your fellow man. You got to be looking out for everybody else, because we can only get through this shit together.
Yep.
Yeah.
I've actually got a really good example of some nuance like that on a project I had to scrap recently because I felt like it treaded too much. So like, for example, I'm gonna put this emote spam in the chat real quick. I commissioned art. I ended up turning it into this emote and still using it and stuff. But my original thing was I was actually going to do a Padaru cover with Aurora. So what I was doing is I built an AI system that basically I trained on a ton of her vocal samples from the 2.0 voice. So I wasn't taking from a person, but I built up her data set based on her actually talking to chat. And I built this thing where it could take songs and it could sing them in her voice instead. And I started feeding it examples of people singing these songs as like, hey, this is the song. And it was uncomfortably close to their version, to the point where I had to scrap the project. Like, if you go look, that project is not released anywhere. And I scrapped the system and I'm having to rebuild it because like, I don't want to, you know, like the best example of it is one time I fed it Shinzawa's cover. And it was her singing, but it had all the same little nuances, all the same pauses, all the same breaks. And I was like, if I don't have this person's permission, it's copying too much. It's too much of their thing for me to be comfortable with it. So I ended up scrapping the project. It's not out now. I have the art, which is kind of funny, and I'm trying to make the best of it and use it elsewhere. But like, you know, so now I'm having to find a new way that is more ethical, and it's taking a lot of time to do that. My current method is probably I'm going to record me singing. I'm going to pitch it up, I'm going to edit the audio a little bit, and then I'm going to feed that into her as the example to mimic. So it's the only person it's ripping off is me. But that's taking a lot of time to develop, and because of that, I can't do any vocal covers with her. And it's like, it stinks, but like you gotta weigh like, is it cool for me to just rip off Shinzawa's cover that she did on YouTube 8 years ago? Not really.
Yeah.
Can't claim that as my content at that point.
Well, why don't we wrap this up a little bit, because there was one more thing I want to talk about. We've been talking about this for quite a little bit of time. There was something I want to talk about, and this will be our last little section, is collabs and collaborations, because I feel like this is a very important thing to talk about, especially since how we met and we found you. Now, oh my goodness, I'm dying. We met and found each other, more specifically you two, when we were all trying to do the whole Fillion thing with the dating show. Now, you made the cut as a backup if somebody had to drop out, and you talked about it with us that you were like nobody backed out, so you were just there, but you know you got to talk with some of the people there who are going to be on the show. Now,
Yeah, it was cool.
yeah, and so why don't you tell us, if you don't mind, why don't you tell us a little bit about your experience with that, and then I have a couple questions regarding the nature of collabing and VTubing.
Okay. Yeah, it was super fun. So that was actually the third time that I had been picked for something in her group things, and I think that's the main reason they put me on as a backup, is they knew I was like a safe bet that would be present, available, and like able to hop on in a moment without issue. So I think it was less that I actually got picked and more I was just like, we've had this guy on twice already. We know he's not going to cause a problem and he'll be there if we need him. I think that's why I was kind of slapped into the backup slot.
With the they reached with the regulars, and their backups, they picked people that you think that, in your opinion, they were just the really safe bets.
Yeah, because like,
Okay.
and then like my friend Nat, that was a backup, she had been on before. Like most of the backups were people that they had used before, or people that were like more small, medium-ish size, that were like, hey, we know this person will be professional and they'll be here and they'll wait. But it was super cool. I got to hang out and talk and meet some people much larger than me and like pick their brain and get tips and just hang out. And I got to bother Punkalope for all of like 2 minutes, so that was like a dream come true. Get to bother one of the people I like for a little bit. That was fun.
That sounds like fun, and not only that, like.
Yeah.
What's super interesting is just how that kind of networking, I mean, especially that was mostly for some of the guests we're having on the show later this month, our Phantom's the one who actually was networking, setting that all up. Like, for instance, the one that we're having on next Sunday is a VTuber named Cynical. Now, she has been getting a big presence on Twitter recently, and she was actually one of the guests on Fillion's thing. So, you know, it's just interesting to see how that kind of networking and collaboration comes about from some of the most unexpected moments.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of hers now, because like I was talking and hanging out and she was cool, and then she got on there and the song she sung, it was like a Frank Sinatra song, and she got back in the chat and I was like, you're my favorite now, because that's my favorite music. So I was like, I like this one. This one's cool. So yeah, she's awesome.
So then when reaching out to people who you want to collaborate with, like, I imagine you have some sort of pitch that you kind of give, you know, how do you,
Oh, no.
how do you, well,
Oh boy.
well, no. So the question is like, how do you kind of modify, or how do you kind of suit that little pitch to make it appeal to the person you want to ask, you know, because that can range from, oh, I just asked them straight up, I say, hey, do you want to collab? Or, you know, like for me,
Yeah.
I'll be a little open when I say it, is when I find people on social media, I follow them and I kind of give it like a month, you know, a couple weeks or a month, and I'm like, hey, I've been following you for a little bit and I've been watching. I think your stuff is really cool. I host a VTuber talk show. Would you be interested in coming on? And if not, that's totally cool. I will still watch and support you, and I think your work ethic is really cool. So, you know, that's how I go about doing it. But you know, I don't just copy and paste it for everybody. You know, it's personal, so I tailor it to the individual who I'm trying to ask. So how do you go about doing that, like setting up and reaching out for these potential collabs?
So I have two methods. One is for people that I have talked to, like for example, where I talked in the Phillian collab and stuff to, you know, Phantom. It was like, this is a more comfortable person to talk to. If they reach out, if I reach out, it's, you know, it just have more of a natural conversation, talk about what we would like to do, be like, hey, I would love to do something. I'd love to be on your show, whatever. And like, that works the best because organic relationships are always going to produce the best collabs.
Yeah.
But if it's someone that I've not really talked to before, I just think their content's cool, I'll write up a little message talking about like why I like their content and stuff, and like a little greeting. And then I attach a video that I've made that I send to them along with it. And this is why I said, oh no, because I've never really talked about this on stream or anything, but I've sent it to a couple people and they always get a kick out of it because it's the most awkward thing ever. It looks like you're sharing a TikTok when you click on it first.
Oh.
And it starts playing as some random TikTok that I video ripped for like all of a second and a half. And then it swipes up. And when it swipes up, it's a fake TikTok that has like memes in the corner and stuff as the profile picture and stuff instead of an actual profile picture. It's just me being like, hi, I'm socially awkward and I don't know how to contact you in an appropriate way. I want to collab and I figured this would get your attention. Hi, how are you? Please contact me.
You fucking genius. That is genius.
And it's like 100% clickbait. They think I'm sharing a TikTok and they're like, what the heck is this? And then they click on it and it's my invitation to collab.
That's
Hidden within a TikTok.
amazing.
I think that's
So stupid.
I think that's such an interesting way of bringing about it, because it shows the difference in how people approach these things. I really, since a part of my brand is how professional I make my appearance and networking be. And to me, that feels comfortable for me. But for you, it's you're being more authentic to yourself. Just be like, I'm nervous and I'm scared, but I'd love to collab, you know? And I think that's it's like a super cool example of how different, you know, there's no one size fits all.
Yeah, I treat things very much like the stage versus backstage, because I've done play narration, I've done band, I've done, you know, musical performances with people, I've done stand up, I've a little bit, not much, and I've done improv. So it's like I very much treat it as like when it's forward facing and everyone's seeing it, it's going to be as professional as possible, it's going to be polished, it's going to be branded, it's going to have the message and kind of theming I want. But then if it's just like me and you behind the scenes, I'm still going to treat you with professionalism and respect. But like I'm just a little bit of a dork, so why try and pretend I'm not? I'm just going to be dorky and play into my strength, which is awkward dorky humor.
Now
That's all I've got.
Well, now imagine you've booked that collab and you're scheduling it and it's going to happen. You know, what steps do you take to make sure you're adequately prepared for that collaboration, to make sure it goes relatively smooth? Because I know when, you know, because you've seen with me doing this, sometimes setting up collabs can be pretty difficult because there's always scuff in some form or another. So how do you go about, you know, trying to set that all up and, you know, because you booked it, it's going to happen. How do you make sure it goes smooth?
And
as much as you
if I
can.
Peel back the curtain on what we did to set up a little bit, because I thought it was awesome and it's inspired me a little bit to change some of my process.
Oh yeah, sure.
Okay, so one thing I've started doing, and this is an important one for anybody that's starting out as a VTuber, is get a flipping calendar, just a separate Google Calendar that is nothing but your collabs, and put them on there, because you will have people ask you, hey, what are you doing this week? And it's really easy to remember when you only have one. But then you start growing in followership and you start making new friends and you start scheduling more, and suddenly you're scheduling 3 in 1 week, and it's like, oh God, which one was on which day at what time? How do I balance that with my real life obligations? Get a calendar, just do it before it's hard, and then it'll be easier. I learned the hard way, and there was times I double scheduled and I would have to like see which one I could be at which time and try and make one work and then lead into the other. And it felt terrible, but it's like, I messed up because I didn't have a calendar and I'm ADHD and I'm terrible at managing things. So like, set the system up. And then the other one is, I like to know who all's going to be on there, and I like to network and make sure that they're people I want to talk with, like outside of in a call, like how you guys did. I love that. That's something I've just started doing recently. I used to just collab with whoever. Now, unless I really trust the person inviting the person in, I want to meet the person before I have them on stream, because it's just like, you never know what they're going to be like. You never know if they're going to say a slur. You never know what their kind of content is, what kind of hatefulness is their kind of content, unless you hang out with them. And you never know too, it might just be someone that you don't vibe with, you don't really get along, even though you're both great, you respect each other. You might not really be friends, it might just be like someone you respect at work kind of relationship, you know? And you don't want to collab with people like that, you just want to hang out.
Yeah. And for those that don't know, what he's referring to is I have a calendar for all of the people who come on my show, because it's if I didn't have that calendar, I would not know who is coming on, because I'm then having to go back into different Discord chats that I set all this up in. I'm like, wait, which day was they doing? Which day were they doing? And it's like, that's the kind of the first thing I do is when I set that up. And then not only that is I also like to make sure I do a Discord call, setting everything up, typically on a Wednesday, like a Wednesday night, or just depending on whenever the individual is free, because if you're going to collaborate with somebody, it should be good that you meet with them first. That way, the first time you talk with them, it's not day off.
Absolutely.
So
you should know the person and not be like, hey, who are you? Tell me and the chat. You should be able to say like, hey, this is my friend Val. He runs a talk show. He's a bat VTuber and he's really cool. He loves Dr. Pepper. Well, I'm gonna let him introduce himself. If you can't do that, you're not ready to collab, you know, unless there's a mutual friend in the middle. And then I really love your all's calendar system where it's like, I saw that, and I saw one too for a game I applied to do a test of on stream, that I'm kind of steal a little bit of both for Aurora's, to where like, I'm gonna set up slots, and if someone wants to collab with Aurora, they can go grab that time slot. I think that's a good method too, especially for her.
My gosh.
Maybe try that on for size though before you use it on your own. don't just let anybody grab an application. But like applications can be cool too, because then you've got it open, like someone can reach out and be like, hey, I want to do this thing. Would you be cool with me doing this thing? You've like already opened the door for them to knock on. So I think that's cool.
Yeah. Now we have the collaboration set up where you actually did it. Things went smoothly. So this is post collaboration.
Yeah.
How do you personally like to measure how well that collab went? Both qualitatively and quantitatively.
Okay. So one thing is I don't worry about collabs boosting my numbers much.
Of course.
Because generally they're most of the time they're not. In fact, I could probably get more growth unless it's a big collab or big event, skipping all collabs except for those and streaming on my own.
Yeah.
I would probably grow faster that way, but I'm not going to make connections that are going to help me improve and help me connected and stay part of the community that way. So I think the best thing to get out of a collab is, like, do you make a friend? Do you make someone you can reach out to? Is there some kind of specialization that now, like, I can help this person with this thing, they can help me with that? Those are always good. Not a necessity. I'm not saying like only collab with people that can offer you something, but like look for the benefits of friendship and what can we do to better each other than looking for numbers. Because a lot of times it's just going to be their community seeing them react in a funny way with a new person and your community seeing them react, and you'll maybe have 2 or 3 people cross over. And that's not any normal than you finding 2 or 3 people in a regular stream on your own.
Yeah.
So
and that's why
don't expect numbers.
That's why when I ask people to come on the show
Yeah.
and I talk to them, because I always, for my safety and in my experience in the entertainment industry, I have created my own media release form, which makes it so that it not only protects myself, but also protects the people coming on the show. Is one of the things that I put at the very last thing, like a paragraph talks about how this show is for entertainment. It is not for growth on either side. It is purely just for us to talk and have fun. And any growth that happens on either side is simply a byproduct because of communities coming together and wanting to support each other. So people who want to be on the show, this show specifically, or any other collaboration, should not go in with the expectation of, oh, I'm doing this because I'm going to boost my numbers. It's that happens as a byproduct, but it's not, oh yes, I'm collaborating with the Iron Mouse, I'm suddenly going to get 1,000 to maybe 10,000 followers in a single collab. That's not, pardon me, that is not what's going to happen. Like I said, it's if you get followers, it's a byproduct, but making that your sole intention just makes it disingenuous and otherwise shady and both shady and manipulative.
Yeah. And like there are examples where you will get a bunch. Like one of the biggest ways I got affiliate and the way I got my kickstart, like I don't feel like I'm not very big as a VTuber yet, but I don't feel like there's a lot of people that are as big as I am. To say I'm not really big, but like at only 5 or 6 months in. Yeah. And that's because I got a huge kickstart on the Philian one. But I feel like the reason so many people came over and followed me is because 1, I was making genuine relationships in the chat before and after. And 2, when I was on the show, I was just focused on being goofy and having a good time and not so stiff and worried about like what's going to happen, who all's watching. Oh my God, there's somebody watching. I need to make sure I do good. That way people come. I was just goofy in myself, and people poked fun at me and we had a good laugh. And then people realized like, oh, this guy's just here to hang out. He's not stressing everything. And then I ended up over doubling my followage on that first Philian collab. I got like 60 or 70 follows when I only had like 40, 50 starting out.
There you go.
So like you can get growth, but you're not going to get it if that's what you're focusing on. You just got to go hang out, and if it happens, it happens.
Yeah. Anything lastly you want to add on to that, Fant? You've been a little quiet.
No, yeah, I was just letting him go.
Yeah, let him cook.
Because I have been doing a lot of that. I mean, I think, I can't remember if I was talking to you guys or someone else, where I was like, yeah, the way I reach out to people, the way I collab is I will only collab with people if I will actually participate in their stream. Like,
yeah,
if I go and I find your stream and I'm like, hey, okay, like, that's when I'll actually start like reaching out to people. And I feel like I'm kind of a mix between the two of you, where Val, you're like, yeah, I follow them, I give it about a month, and then maybe I'll reach out. And Vega, where you're like, yeah, I like to establish like that relationship. I dive in head first. I just dive in, and I'm like, if it's interesting and if like, there's going on, I'm getting along with their chat, I'm getting along with them, cool. Like I will give it like 3 streams, or I'll actually like. There are some cases where I will literally just wait until I feel like there is a rapport until it gets to the point where they notice me come in, or they ask, "Hey, do you stream?" Or like depending on whatever comes up, because there are plenty of people that I want to collaborate with that I'm just biding my time. And there are other people where I jump in, I hit it off with them immediately. I'm like, oh, we need to do something like now because you're cool and you're now my new best friend. So sorry, not sorry.
I've done that before a couple of times.
That's what happened with me and Blue, where I jumped in her chat. I was having a really good time vibing around. I sent one chat that I like did one thing where it was like a news headline where it was like, bully e-girl slams innocent chatter for just trying to tell her to cover her bluebies or something. And then she laughed and I was like, that's it. And I was like, that's it. We're friends now. Like that's all there is to it.
Yep.
It's as simple as that. And like we've been thick as thieves ever since. And there are other places where there's someone else I'm trying to collab with where they don't accept DMs from people they're not friends with. And they don't do it on Twitch, they don't do it on Discord, but I'm in their Discord. And so I'm biding my time. I'm waiting for them to know me a little bit better before I send like a friend request, so that way it doesn't look like I am just disingenuous trying just to like get as many people who are larger than me as possible. Because like you said, a lot of people are in those opening steps. Some people stay there for a very long time, some people move quickly. Me and Val have been fortunate to be moving pretty fast through the beginning stages, and I hope that continues for us. But there are plenty of people where they will just shoot their shot and they'll have like 20 followers, but they've been doing it for like 2 years, and like, yeah, I don't really know why people aren't showing up, but I bet if you came on my stream it would change things.
Did what on your stream?
What?
Oh no.
Sorry.
Gesundheit.
No, you're good. I was like, what did I say?
You're good. Just go watch it back later. You'll know.
No, I knew.
Okay.
He did what in his cup? Like,
can I actually throw one other small thing in?
Sure.
yes.
Well, why don't we end on this? Why don't we end on that thought then? Yours.
Okay.
Vega.
Well, one other really small thing that I would say really is great for growth in terms of collabs is people that you collab with and you enjoy hanging out with and stuff. Find people that you enjoy hanging out with, regardless of numbers, whether they have average 2, whether they average 7, whether they average 100. Find people you enjoy hanging out with. Raid those people that you enjoy hanging out with, you enjoy their company, and then hang out in their stream and be genuine after you raid them. Don't just be like, hey, I'm here, I'm going to sleep now. Which, sometimes you got to do that. I respect that.
Yeah.
If you just came from an 8-hour stream, but like, hang out a little bit, get to know their community a teeny bit as well. And that is an amazing tool for growth. And a lot of times they'll raid you back. And then those same people that you're used to talking to in their chat that you've made a relationship with are like, oh my God, this is Vega. I didn't even realize Vega streams are like this. I saw him raid in, but I didn't know anything about him. But now we've talked a little bit. Now I'm in his chat because I got raided in. And then they become a viewer as well. And you can really like, you end up with a lot of overlapping viewership with your friends that way, but it's a really good way for growth. People talk about like a lot of my VTuber friends of similar size talk about how many raids I get, because I get a lot. It's because I do that. I just raid into different people every time, and I'll just in stream, even if I've only got a couple people, I go raid, and then I go hang out a little bit at least. And you'll make more friends that way, you'll get better collabs that way, and you'll grow more that way.
Absolutely.
It's very easy.
Yeah. Well, oh my goodness,
All wins.
my voice. We hit the 2-hour mark. So there is one last question that I need to ask you. Phantom, would you do the honors and ask it?
I see. How big are your shoes?
How big are my shoes?
Yeah. And are you wide or regular?
So they are.
No one cares. No,
they
no
are
one cares.
9'5"
No one
men's.
cares about your. No one cares about your shoes. The important question is, now that we're wrapping up, speaking of raids, who would you like to raid?
Who would I like to raid? Oh, let's see who's online.
Yeah, where should we go?
Home.
We scroll through. I always scroll to the bottom and then work my way up.
Listen to this. Listen to Mr. Popular over
So
here.
while he scrolls through that, why don't I do my little outro here. So thank you all so much for joining us today. My name is Val. This is the Phantom Fame, my wonderful co-host, and this has been our guest, Vega. We really appreciate you coming by. I have a Discord for the show that is the VOD server. Please, let me do that little Discordy thing.
I got it.
Fine. So there's a Discord for the server. There's a Discord server for the show. Please follow it, join it. We'd love to have you there. There's so many things that you can do. There's so many channels, so many people you can talk to. If you want to be a guest on the show, join the server. I will reach out to you. One of my mods will reach out to you, and we'll get you set up. We'd love to have you. There is no requirement. Just don't be a jerk. And yeah, we'll get you on the show. We are currently booked for the rest of December, and we have some spots left for January. But then if you want to be in February, I'll have that sorted out, and it'll be super fun. I also have a Twitter. Follow me on Twitter. It's_Valentine0, and I post my trash anime takes there. Not to mention, please follow our wonderful co-host Phantom Fame here on his channel, and also... And also, please support and follow our boy Vega here. He's a wonderful lad.
Thank you.
Yeah. So thank you guys so much for joining us, and let's see if we can get that raid now.
Okay, so the person I would like to raid it's someone else I met at the Filling Collab that I haven't got to interact with much since, but he's really sweet. He's a bunny VTuber, Date'll Bun Boy. I've been following him, wanting to raid him, and I've never got the chance because he's never live when I'm ending. So there it is.
Date'll Bun Boy. Danganronpa Trigger Happy Havoc. Oh boy,
He's very silly, very sweet, very goofy guy.
Oh, I love Danganronpa. That is one of my favorite game series. All right, well, guess what I have? Copy and paste.
Not set that up yet.
No, I haven't. If you want to stay a little bit after, we can get that going. Hey, guess what? I already have it set up. I saved it.
There you go. We can get you a command for that.
I need to get a command.
I just set mine up.
Oh, maybe Vega, if you have time, stay a little after me. We can set up some things together.
I was like, I'll take all the help.
I would love that because I need to set up the thing you guys are setting up so we can help each other.
See,
yeah.
If anybody wants to know why collabing and also being genuine is good, this is why.
Yeah, this is exactly what I was talking about helping each other. This is it.
Exactly.
And if you want to see pictures of Vega's feet and more behind the scenes, you can go visit our Patreon.
Yeah.
Oh,
well, actually,
I'm sorry to disappoint. My model actually has no feet. They were clipping awkwardly with the boots, and I got chopped off at the knees.
Oh my gosh.
I'll make some feet for them.
Well,
okay.
Yeah, but like I said, please join the Discord server. The Discord server I think is the best one you can join, because there's so much we can do there. Again, if you want to be on the show, join the Discord and reach out to me, and or anybody else, any of the Mon team, and we will get you on. With that said, I am Val. This is the Phantom Fame. This is Vega. Please join me this Tuesday as we'll be doing a little bit of a collab with our wonderful friend Spider Marie as we play Escape the Backrooms.
Well, let's put a pin in that. I can't remember if that's still ongoing or not.
But regardless on that one, the big thing, please join us next week on that Friday or that Saturday, Sunday, as we have Lord Rexworth joining us on Saturday, and our wonderful cynical
I think that's right.
Our wonderful guest, Lord Rexworth, on Saturday, and Cynical joining us on Sunday. We love you so much, and we will see you next time. Let's now raid in with the bottom raid. Woo! Bottom raid. Need to be a follower to chat? Oh, I see.
Oh, they've got that on. I didn't realize.
Sure, I'll follow.
Okay, I just followed anyways. Fuck.
Well, they'll get a bunch of followers now.
God, the rain.